In a delayed Patriots postgame show, we had some technical difficulties. Plus, our man Taylor Kyles was working the game for NFL and had to race home in order to talk about this. I don't know what to say. And this isn't one of these like, oh, let's have fun, beating on. I'm perplexed in every way possible, Taylor, and just overall the way the team played was as bad as you could expect. It was just an all three phases ass whooping. But the headline coming into the game, the headline weeks prior, the headline going off of this game, and possibly forever, because I have no idea what the Patriots quarterback situation is going to look like, going forward after what we saw tonight. Just an absolute debacle. Mac Jones played 3 series, exited the game after throwing a pick. Bill Belichick was unbelievably vague as to why. Didn't make it clear what was going on. We're going to hear a little clip from Bill in a minute as well. Bailey Zappi came in, even when he wasn't in there chanting Zappy, Zappy. It's just an absolute mess in Foxborough. Zappi comes in, has a couple good series, then everything goes to shit from there, and just an absolute debacle. But let's just start with just your impressions right now out of the gate, and we'll hear from Bill and what he, his justification for why it happened. But just your impressions of how things went down. Apparently, Bill said this was the plan all along, to play both guys and to bench this franchise quarterback at home. I don't understand.
Me neither. So it's strange because if you're thinking, okay, let's apply preseason rules where there is a more structured quarterback rotation. Sometimes in preseason, you will see that if the offense can't get anything going to start the game, or in the first quarter when the starting offense usually plays early on, then they'll bleed into the second quarter. And then once they put something together, it's like, all right, we have something productive to work on. Which, if you're going to say that Mac was supposed to only be playing maybe the first quarter or like a rotation or whatever, you can give that excuse that maybe that was why. That he just wanted to give Mac something to go off of and be confident in before he, took a step back and gave it to Zappi, hoping the offense is in a good position. But the fact that it came after the interception, which I tweeted, I've been saying this also for weeks, that the thing with Mac, if he was going to lose his job, it would be because of turnovers. As soon as he throws it, and it was bad. Like, great interception, crazy catch. Like, don't take anything away from the
brutal
defender.
Hey, Taylor,
decision.
I'm going to cut you off real quick. Your mic's crackling a little bit. I'm going to play the Bill Belichick quote. I'm hearing a little, we're going to play Bill real quick because you're right. What's not clear is it appeared to everybody, as you're saying, Mac, who'd thrown some picks, and everybody thought maybe this is the one thing that he really can't, that he's not going to be able to get by is throwing interceptions. And so he throws one on the third series. It was a brutal one, as you're described, and he did not come back into the game. And then Bill Belichick was asked about it because, again, there's an option here, right? Door number one, it was a health-related thing. I didn't like the way he was moving. And that would have been a really easy thing to say. Door number two, performance-related. But Bill instead opened up door number three.
So when Mac came out of the game, Bill, was that a medical decision, the timing of
No.
pulling him? So was that related to the interception? That was his last play tonight?
No, we had planned to play. I told the quarterbacks that we were gonna play both of them. So we did.
And so was the plan for 3 series? It just seems when his last play's interception, it looks like a benching for performance.
That's not what it was, but you can write whatever you want to write. That's not what it was.
So, okay, that they've never done that. Decided to play 2 quarterbacks in a scripted sort of way, a few series and then a few series. It just strains. It just doesn't. It's not a believable thing. Why not be honest, or why not say what's happening or what is happening? What the plan couldn't have been this. Mac Jones prepped all week long, according to everybody, all reports, the players, Mac took the first team reps, 95% of them all week long. The players, when asked about it in the locker room, there's various quotes. Players had no idea that was potentially happening. Jacoby Myers, flat out, might as well have said, yeah, they did Mac dirty. The guy killed himself coming back from injury, and then you friggin' do that to him? Like, what the F, man? What is going on?
Hopefully my audio works here. But yeah, I at least try to give the benefit.
Still
of the
crackly.
doubt.
You might have to just take off the headset altogether. Just go with the computer. Yep, sorry about that. Whatever it is crackling. Go for it. What were you saying?
Is this any better?
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. You know me, usually I try to give the benefit of the doubt, try to be the optimist. Like, okay, we don't know. Maybe Belichick has a plan. He wants to be vague to avoid questions and, maybe give a competitive advantage. But now we're reaching territory where it's legitimately you are putting your players in awkward positions where they're needing to answer questions that they don't know how to answer, where you have two young quarterbacks who are at this point being fairly asked, like, what is going on here? And even they don't know what to say.
Still a bit of crackling. I'm going to say log off and come back in. I'm going to play Mac Jones. So Mac, to his credit, and Taylor, jump back on in a second if you can. In the meantime, Mac, to his credit, was a pro about all of this. He went in there. This had to be a brutal situation for him. They were chanting, the fans were chanting Zappy Zappy before he even got in the game. And then he gets in and Zappy, lights the place up and the place is super excited about it. Patriots show some life and there was just that teeny little surge where they looked like, okay, this is going to happen. It didn't. It didn't turn out that way. But Mac was on the sideline. He's still active. He's got his helmet on. He's got his, wristband. He's checking out the plays. He's doing things. He's getting involved. He's high-fiving Bailey when he comes off the field. But this is a guy who's in his second year, and he's absolutely had his world turned upside down. Without real explanation for why. And here was Mac talking about what it was like listening to all of the Zappy stuff, when he was on the field.
How deflating was it to hear the Zappy chants almost after every series or every time you touch the ball?
Yeah, I think obviously, like I said earlier, definitely wanted to play better, and I just got to do better at my job, and that's all it comes down to, and that's all I can control. And honestly, we got a good chance here to go against the Jets, and that's kind of what I'm already focused on. So, like I said, I'm going to do my best to put my best foot forward, and I've been in this situation before, and I'm just going to try and help the team, and whatever my role is, I'll be ready, and I'll give it 100%.
We're going to bring in Taylor once more. Finger crossed. Taylor, fire away.
Can you hear me? Everything
yes,
good?
I love it. Go.
All right.
Uninterrupted. Awesome. So that's Bailey. That's Mac again. He is a pro, but just the whole situation here again just appears to have caught everybody off guard.
Yeah, and like I said, I usually try to be the optimist, but we're at a point here where, like I said, you're putting people in weird positions. Whatever the plan was with Mac, we clearly didn't see it materialize the way it was supposed to. And even so, I have to think that with Bill saying, "Oh, the game got away from us," we weren't going to put Mac in the game. So it must have been health related, because there's no reason when you need to pass to keep your backup in unless you're saying, okay, the defense has its ears pinned back. We're just going to try to protect this guy. But even still, it's felt like in the fourth quarter especially, would it have taken a tremendous effort to come back? Absolutely. I'm not going to act like it was, a given. But at the same time, they're running the play clock down to 10 seconds every time. It was alarming how little urgency there was. And there's a degree to it where there's also the fact that Bailey Zappi, maybe he hasn't gotten the reps to work the hurry up because they're just trying to get the guy ready for games. So I'm trying to give that benefit of that as well. But even still, like, Bailey Zappi has shown a fairly impressive command of the huddle, especially for a younger guy. And everyone understands, all right, we're trying to get back in this game. We need to be getting on the line as fast as we can, get the play called, break the huddle, everybody gets to their positions. It looked like they were only down a score and maybe just trying to kill clock. It was very strange. So the approach in-game just felt uninspired. And beyond that, the fact that Mac didn't see action after throwing a pick win the game, I don't think it was truly out of I don't think it was out of the possibility of them being able to come back until about the fourth quarter. So it just seemed like a strange plan. I don't know what the plan was. It might have been something like Belichick cooks up that you've never seen before. I don't know, and I don't want to feign that I do. But it clearly didn't work. The offense just looked lethargic the entire game except for the 2 drives where they scored in 4 minutes. And it feels like clearly a weird message to send when you've got your star receiver, Jacoby Myers, like you said, saying that basically saying they did Mac dirty. It feels like it sends a weird message to not only the fan base, screw the fan base. Like, if anything, just avoid putting your players in position to answer these questions. But then it's okay. No, these guys are also kind of against you because they don't agree with what you're doing either. And it feels like this offense internally has a lot of issues, which, it's been understandable in the past. When Brady left, there's like that awkward couple years where you're still trying to figure out what identity is, who you're going to be relying on, all those things. But you had the 2 rebuild years and you have your quarterback. Yes, there's been some disruption, but the inconsistency that it feels like they have on the inside is what really turns this from, okay, they just need to figure it out, to no, like, it feels like a lot of heavy lifting needs to be done, and I don't really know how that gets done, frankly.
And again, what we're not going to know here, and which is, I hate to make it about this because you want to be able to look at what's your, what do you do, Taylor? What's your strength? You watch what happened on the field, you analyze film, you dissect it. This worked, this didn't work. I don't know that any of that matters if you have this messy a quarterback situation. This is not tenable. You can't have this kind of confusion. And you really do risk, this sounds ridiculously cliche. You could lose people here. Like, you already have, I know Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick. And, for the most part, throughout most of his career, he's just been above reproach because you don't question Bill because it's always worked out. Even if it seems unconventional at times, it works out in the end. He knows best. The results are always there. But just the kind of flippant attitude and the way that they've dealt with the quarterback position to begin with, not really having the succession plan post Brady, then walking into this year without any offensive coaches in place to be able to work with a second-year quarterback, and not really care about it, not really care that it wasn't going well, that people were having problems with it and questioning it in the preseason, including Mac Jones. And then to have a situation here where nobody in the locker room really knows what's going on at the quarterback position, including, not just the quarterbacks, but the team. You're really on thin ice here with people. I don't know how you can do that. Like, I don't know how you can run the shop that way.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know how much I have no insight to add. Like,
it's hard to know, right?
But it's frustrating. Honestly, it really is. Again, like, I'm the optimist. I love to at least be like, all right, they got this. If they do this, then it's that. But in years past, you had Brady in the locker room, and I hate to do that whole thing, but like, you can't understate it. It's Tom Brady. Like, everyone will listen to him, offense or defense. When you have Belichick, that's great. If you're not losing, I don't really think anybody gives a crap what anybody has to say until things are back on track. Everyone says Belichick is crazy consistent, and I think that if they're going to get out of this slump, that will be necessary. But then you have the inconsistency of, well, we don't even know the players clearly don't even know what's going on in their own locker room. So one thing I will say, and I haven't really wanted to mention this point just because every locker room is different, and you lean on guys and you kind of wait on guys to mature, and they still have Slater, they still have Devin McCourty. But the veteran leadership, I feel like that's the thing that you always hear about that gets teams back on track.
I hate to say this, the mic crackling is back, Taylor, so I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, no, I apologize. Well, I don't want to continue it on here and have have it get worse than it is. A little bit of a crackle. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I don't know what's going on in that particular thing as well. And yeah, it's going haywire. Give it to me one more time.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Nope.
Damn.
Nope.
I got to get a new laptop or something.
That's all right. We weren't planning. We're not planning on going too long here because a lot of the thing is we're just trying to assess what's going on here. Taylor, log out back in one more time, and we'll see what we can do. It. Yeah, we're talking about the Jimmy Wi-Fi. The bigger question I want to talk to Taylor when he gets back here is just did Mac look as bad as all that? Like, was there enough there to pull him just based off of what we saw? Again, there wasn't a ton going there. You had bad penalties, a couple of them by Trent Brown that really torpedoed the first couple of drives. That's never great. Then, they're moving the ball okay. And then Mac just made a horrible throw. And I wonder if he doesn't do that, what happens? Do they survive that does he survive that series? Does he come out? And again, Bill, it just from an optics standpoint, that's what I don't get. Like, Bill could have decided before the game, Mac's playing 3 series and then he's out no matter what. Would he have pulled him after 3 straight touchdown drives? Would he have pulled him? I find that hard to believe. Would he also not have considered that, hey, maybe I shouldn't pull him right after a pick if it's not really a performance-based thing, because that's going to look like I'm benching the guy, and that's going to have repercussions here, and that's going to be ugly. So I don't really know. We mentioned Jacoby Myers. I'm going to play this real quick. I'm going to bring back Taylor, see if we fixed our audio issues. This is what Jacoby Myers said after the game, which was really, really crazy here. And again, some people in the chat, I hear you, Edward, saying rust. I think rust can be a real thing, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, it can be rust. I just don't think you would have pulled somebody who just looked a little bit rusty. I just don't think it's a plausible excuse that that's what happened there. Let's play out Jacoby Myers here and see what we got.
Surprised that Jones came out so quickly.
Yeah, but that's the NFL for you. It's a fast-changing business, and you got to rock with it right now.
How do you personally and other receivers and skill players adjust when a change like that is made?
Not even as a football player. It's tough as a man to see somebody who works so hard kind of get that kind of treatment. But at the end of the day, we all trying to feed our families, so we got to go out there and play whoever's going.
So there you have it.
Try Taylor one more time.
All right, am I good? Better?
Maybe.
Hope maybe means yes. I'm just going to keep talking until we know for sure. Oh my God, I think I got booted.
No, you're there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you kicked me out. I was like, damn, it's really bad.
No, you're good.
Okay. That was rough. Yeah. Especially Jacoby. I feel like he's not really the kind of... He's obviously a very stall-smoking guy, so... Pretty significant, and tells you a lot about what the feeling was in the locker room when one of your veterans is saying, like, yeah, they kind of... He caught himself and was trying to stop himself from saying, like, they did him dirty. So that's not good. Not optimistic. That's just, it's one of those nights. It's bad all around.
So one of the things we want to talk about, and I'm echoing now, so I have to take off.
You talk for a minute.
Are we better now?
I'm not. You're doing well. You talk to the crowd. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Go. You tell them about Mac's performance, okay? I actually think my thing fixed. I think it's better. Did Mac look that bad to you in those 3 in those 3 series? Did he look so bad that it warranted pulling?
All he did was run. I don't know. Like, that's one of the other frustrating things about this game is I have no way to really evaluate. I mean, all 22 may help. And I hope that people can hear me when I'm talking right now. But all 22 may help so I can at least see what was going on downfield. But Mac ran on most of his dropbacks, at least that I can remember. And then when he did throw downfield, it was on a truly terrible read, and the kind that we've seen multiple times from him this year, which is discouraging because he comes out of college as a guy who makes all the right decisions, who keeps the ball out of harm's way, all the things that you want in a Patriots quarterback. And then it's okay. He's developed by a very smart staff. They put him in position to succeed, Patriots jargon, blah, 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 and then he thrives. We've seen a significant regression, which At one point, it was, okay, he's trying to be more aggressive downfield. There were times where it just seemed like, you don't need to do that in the future, learn from it. There were times where it was, oh, no, that was horrendous post-snap decision-making that just is not acceptable for a quarterback with, like, physical limitations who isn't always making all these crazy downfield throws. We saw this year he's capable of doing more of that, but the consistency, I understand, again, that he was trying to be more aggressive to start the season, but it doesn't excuse a lot of what he did. And then when you come back after seeing a quarterback who has done an excellent job keeping the ball safe and not, creating turnover-worthy plays, you come back and you just make an unnecessary throw downfield. And what's worrying me is the fact that these bad post-snap reads have been happening to Mac since last year. And last year, it's rookie jitters. Now it's this year, it's okay, he's trying to be more aggressive downfield. But at some point, you got to stop making excuses for the guy. And I tweeted that after the game. I'm at the point where I'm done making excuses for Mac. And again, rust. I acknowledge that. Even when he threw it, I was like, damn, that just seemed like he was trying to do too much. But a line needs to be drawn. Mac has not shown us, at least this season, that he can consistently make the plays he needs to make that are there while also avoiding the negative plays. And that's the deal breaker right now. And that's really what it is. It's great to be a downfield passing offense, not when you're throwing 2 or 3 really bad interceptions a game, when your team doesn't have a great margin for error in a lot of these games.
And that's what I don't fully get, is I think the consensus was, and this is why everyone needs to shut up. In the nicest way possible. Not you. I like what you're saying. I'm saying I'm tired of the smart narrative of what is gonna happen in Foxborough and what Bill's gonna do. Stop it. You don't know. So stop telling the rest of us you do. And I'm not talking to you again, Taylor. I'm
on the fringe of that. Not quite that much.
You're not. I'm speaking it out there. Because
you're right.
Because everybody's like, dude, Mac's the guy. This Bailey Zappi thing was cute and fun, but it's not real. And I would tend to agree because I think it makes sense to me also. But what I said last week and what I'll say again is it doesn't matter because you don't know what's going on in the head of the guy upstairs. And if nobody in Foxborough, including the players, had any clue that this was happening, certainly Joe Blow, media expert guy, doesn't know either. So stop. This whole finger wagging, thumbing your nose at people for suggesting Bailey Zappi. There's something going on right now that we can't explain and we don't fully know. So people have to stop acting like they know. Okay? They don't. It's not obviously Mac. It's not, whether it's an attitude or a performance issue. There's something going on there where there's not full confidence in the guy for whatever reason that there is. And there's a question mark. And I don't think it's Bailey Zappi fever. This is the problem. Everyone made it Mac versus Zappi. It's not Mac versus Zappi. It's Mac versus Mac.
Versus Mac. Yep. Yes,
right now, the problem is it's a crisis of confidence in Mac, both in terms of what's going on potentially with Bill and the fans. The fans are not cheering for Bailey Zappi because they think he's awesome. They've seen enough from Mac Jones to wonder whether he's that guy. And when they're no longer certain that he's that guy, they want to try on something new and see how that fits. And that's what's going on right now, at least from the fan perspective. What's going on in Foxborough, I have no idea.
And the thing is, the talent is there for Mac. I understand the optimism, and that's kind of what I was clinching to at the beginning of the season, because again, me, it's the first 4 weeks are extended preseason where you're trying to get a feel for what you're really good at. And once, that first 4 weeks goes by, it's all right, we need to start making significant adjustments. What are we doing poorly? What do we need to improve on? What do we need to get away from? And we heard them doing that in the first few weeks. They were acknowledging, the outside zone stuff. They said we kind of scrapped a lot of it, but they brought it back for certain, when Zappi was back and, schematic little tweaks they made. But again, it's gotten to the point where now Mac was in a position where it was dude, seriously, don't turn the ball over, because you got a guy nipping at your heels right now who just ripped off 2 pretty comfy wins by just keeping the offense on schedule. That's really all you got to do. And here's another thing that we need to address. One, Mac could have been better. Zappi could have been better. The evaluation of them is also so skewed. And I don't know that I watched the Patriots game where I came away thinking yes, they had their poor moments, but so many were caused by penalties and by mental mistakes. Trent Brown had his worst game of the year, and it wasn't even because of his physical execution. It was all mental. When you freaking bench Isaiah Wynn, who's been the guy who's constantly committing the mental errors, then you have your other tackle who's the veteran, who's one of the best players in his position physically, making all these mental errors. He was making them early in the year, but that was getting Mac hit. Now it's just putting the offense behind the chains. And it wasn't just Trent Brown, although he was by far, the most egregious offender. But you had multiple guys getting all these penalties and putting yourself behind. And it makes it harder on one Mac Jones, who's trying to freaking survive out there, apparently. And it's harder on Bailey Zappi, who has been thriving because the offense has been doing what it needs to do and chunking its way downfield, and he's taking what's there. But when you put yourself in first and 15, what's the guy supposed to do?
I know. And again, I hate to do this to you, Taylor, but the mic cracked out again. But it's all right. Rather than subject the fans to it, I'm going to put you on pause and we'll call it a night here. But I got somebody else coming on the show to pinch hit, take us through the rest of it. It is a bit of a bummer that this happened, but Taylor's going to dig into the film, tell us just how bad it was. I also think it's interesting that Justin Fields, Patriots fans were taking a real victory lap over we got the good one with Mac. And you watched Fields today, and again, you saw a lot of the things that really make you think, oh, there's something there with this guy. And I mean, a lot of it had to do with the Patriots and the type of defense they played and the type of coverages. It really was a sloppy game, a really poor defensive game plan, a really poorly executed defensive game plan. We'll dig into some of that stuff, but Taylor, we're going to say bye to you. And thank you very much for jumping in for this one. We will continue the conversation here. And we have a very surprise. You guys are not going to believe this. Some of you might. Some of you might. Oh, my God.
Can you hear me now?
You just can't get rid of me. That's the problem.
I got Jimmy Toscano in my chat. I skipped the Celtics postgame show. And I'm like, all right, I'm clear of this guy. I'm clear of these shenanigans for a night. But he's in here. So Jimmy, for those who don't know, covered the Patriots a fair amount during his days at NBC. Jimmy and I, we covered a Super Bowl together. The Patriots Seahawks one, which was phenomenal. Super Bowl and a very fun time. For the NBC crew back there.
I had to write the game story that I think I threw up over the whole thing because it changed so like I think Art, good old Art Martone, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Art.
He saved me on that one. I think I submitted it and I was like, Art, just please like fix the whole thing.
Yeah. So I was gonna dig down deep X's and O's with Taylor, just talk about like what were the Patriots doing, because it was a gross game. But I don't do that with Jimmy Toscano. I'm just gonna ask Jimmy.
Well, I had, just so everyone knows, I had Celtics on the big screen, I had Patriots on the iPad, and I was going back and forth, and I was just getting sadder and sadder at each screen I looked at. I didn't know where to go tonight for any enjoyment. It's ugly out there. Tough one for Boston in general.
Yeah, so we can hybridize this. I didn't watch the Celtics. I'm glad I didn't watch the Celtics. I don't know if I could have handled that show.
You didn't need it.
That's fine. But as far as this game goes, I am so baffled by what Bill is doing right now in a way where like it's almost like a stubborn child. Like, what? I didn't do that. You can write that if you want.
You honestly don't know
what are you doing? What are you doing? You're gonna break the thing. You can't do that.
When you hear like the comments from Jacoby Myers tonight about how, it's tough to see, Mac going through that. I don't know exactly what the quote was, but you guys heard it. That tells me that like the locker room is like, what the hell's going on? Right? If they're not on the same page as Bill or as the quarterbacks are, and they're starting to question some of the decisions, in-game decision making. We already know, or we already heard that Max got some, reportedly he's not a huge fan of the play calling, right? Isn't that one of the hot rumors that's going around? We're certainly not going to be a fan of it tonight if that's the case. I can't figure out. Everyone's like, oh, it's part of the plan. It was part of the plan. Can somebody tell me the plan? This seems like a Nathan Fielder sketch where he's like, the plan. alienate your first quarterback and realize that your second quarterback sucks, and then have no quarterbacks for the rest of the season. Like, it honestly feels.
Let's see if we can go from 2 quarterbacks to no quarterbacks.
The plan ruined 2 quarterbacks. Like, what's the plan? Like, what is this? It's so weird. And don't get me wrong, I was just as fired up as everybody
Everyone's
else.
like, "What's Jimmy on here?" It's a mess. This is no less. Jimmy being on here is no less confusing than what's going on with the Patriots quarterback situation. Did you guys know Jimmy was going to be on the show tonight? I did. I didn't tell anybody.
Plan.
It was the plan. The plan was for Taylor's mic to be bad, but not really that. I was going to bench him no matter what. Okay, it wasn't for Taylor. Didn't get benched for performance issues. This was the plan. Jimmy was coming on.
And Bobby's going to be interviewed and be like, yeah, that was kind of tough for Taylor. I don't really know what happened there.
That was the plan.
I don't know.
This is a mess. What's so funny is, like, this should be for like a guy like me, or like the stuff, like this should be, oh my God, just, pig and shit. Like I can't believe, but I'm so shocked that it's happening. I don't even know how to process it. I can't. The only thing you'd think he wouldn't do is what he did, which is he's not going to bring in Mac and then bench him right away. That would be a disaster, right? Even people who thought that was possible thought if Mac comes back, he gets benched, it'll be weeks and weeks of playing bad. And they've seen something they don't like. 3 series?
That's the thing. And it's like 3 short series. So we're not even talking like that many snaps here, right? I mean, this wasn't enough to really know what Mac's capable of doing right now, health-wise. This is why I can't figure out what his reasoning is for any of this. I mean, it would have made more sense to me to start Zappy against a bad Bears team, assume that you can get some sort of a lead, like a big enough lead where maybe you say, let's throw Mac out there for a few series in the fourth quarter. We just wanted to see how he felt, getting some game reps, and go from there. I don't know why you would have reversed the 2. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me from like a health standpoint, from a confidence standpoint. None of those things add up. So again, I just can't figure out why that was the decision that was made. The worst part is we'll never get an answer, right? We'll never, ever find out what was the plan and why.
No, this is a Malcolm Butler thing. File it away. We'll never know.
But if you think there was any smoke, or if you think there's any fire to smoke of, Max at odds with the coaching staff, there's definitely you can definitely start to dot some, connect some dots here and wonder, if you have like any conspiracy theories, wonder if Bill wanted to, all right, Mac, you think you have all the answers? You think you're ready to play? Go ahead. All right, go on out there. I don't know if there's anything to that. I don't know why you would. I don't know who that benefits. Certainly it doesn't benefit anybody. But if they are at odds, certainly this wouldn't have helped the situation. You kind of embarrassed Mac. I'll be honest, the fans, tough look for the fans, I think, at Gillette tonight too. I mean, I don't know if anybody at the game is watching the show, but you talk about alienating a guy, a quarterback that, second-year guy, somebody that you thought you might want to be building around. I don't know how you go out there screaming Zappy, Zappy, Zappy from pretty much the start. I mean, what's that going to do to a guy?
Well, that's a mess, and I don't think anybody cares, and that's the problem. That's what I said this with Taylor earlier. I don't think it's a Mac versus Zappy thing. I think it's a Mac thing.
Mac versus Mac, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's just Mac. They've seen enough of Mac to think, I don't think this dude's it. And that's my feeling too, is nothing about what Mac, don't tell me successful rookie year, and blah, 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 blah. It's all about ceiling. Where can this guy take you? Okay. You have the best quarterback, one of the best people who's ever played a sport before, and that's the bar. The bar is Tom freaking Brady. So anybody coming in doesn't have to beat Tom Brady. He has to just make you think that, like, okay, we've got our guy, and I can go to bat. I'm going to battle with this guy for the next 10 years, and let's see what we can do. You just had to feel good. Like, all right, we got ours. Okay, those guys, they got their Burrow, they got Herbert, they got this, they got that. Those guys are good. We got our guy. He's good in different ways. We'll try to put the rest of the pieces together and see what we can do. We're ready to go. We got quarterback settled. I don't think people are certain that they've got quarterback settled anymore, because Mac hasn't done anything to make you feel great. He's done enough to make you feel like, he's all right. You know,
he hasn't done enough to make you feel like he's going to be an elite tier 1 quarterback.
No.
But is he good enough to build a good roster and a good team around with a good coaching
Maybe.
staff? I think so, but they're not there right now. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
Because of the way things have gone over the last few years with drafting and with the turnover, roster, spending money on players like, Henry and Smith and these other guys that are just eating away at their roster cap. Like you've said it a million times, John. You have a quarterback on a cheap deal. You're never going to have this situation.
You should be
rarely
loaded.
do you. You should be loaded. You should be loaded around this guy. We haven't even talked about the defense tonight. That's probably the real concern after tonight, is that the Bears just walked all over you.
Well, it's twofold. And this is the problem with the team. And this is every single problem you've seen with this team. Why does this seem familiar? Is because this is what happens. And this is who these guys have been since the late stages of Brady, pretty much. All the way back to 2019, they ripped off all those wins to start that season. Everything looked good. Then things started to really crater in the second half of that year, in his final year here. And then you've got Cam, you got Mac, year one, you've got now. The Patriots, it's twofold. They haven't had a defense able to really just shut people down and stop people on a consistent basis.
Right.
Going back to 2019, and again, they rattled off, I forget how many wins to start the season, and made everybody think that was a better team than it actually was. After tonight's loss, the Patriots are 2-17 when the other team scores 24 points or more, which means you cannot get into, forget shootouts. If a team scores what's close to like NFL average points against you, just a tick above, game over, you've lost. Okay, Patriots can only their offense cannot muster enough points to stay. Forget a track meet. You can't stay with a team when they score 24 points. That's ball game for you, which means everything about that's to show you how bad the offense is. They're a front running offense. They have to get an early lead, make the other team one dimensional, capitalize on their mistakes, get some turnovers, which lead to more points for them. And that's how they build up their stuff. That's the only way that they can win. But if they play even, the defense isn't playing great, they're not turning the ball over, the other team starts to move the ball and score, lights out. They don't have a good enough offense to be able to put up the points to keep up there, and they don't really have a good enough defense to shut teams down. The Bears ran for 7,000 yards tonight. Was that the final number?
It was just under 7,000.
Just under 7,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? It's some kind of record.
Yeah. I mean, again, mobile quarterback always seems to be an issue for Bill, for a Bill coach team, I should say. And yeah, I mean, you just saw it. I mean, Zappe gave him that spark there, but it was the defense in that second half that was. And again, I wasn't glued to it because I was watching the Celtics, but just by looking at some of the plays and looking at the stats, it just felt like you just said, Joe, not a strong enough defense to depend on. Offensively, they just want to control the clock. They know they're not going to go up and down the field. They just want to run. If they can score 21 points and the defense can somehow come through, then those are the grinded out games that you have to try to play for. I don't think it's like over for Mac. I mean, it's tough for me to say that Mac, isn't good enough to win or isn't good enough to this. I mean, he did make the playoffs this year. I know they got blown away and it was kind of a fraud playoff berth because of some of the wins they had and the teams they played, but
ridiculous. I mean, it's a smoke and mirrors team. That team, both in terms of the quality of schedule, the quality of victory, and some of the victories that they had were against teams that were either down all of their personnel or they were playing them in a once in a lifetime blizzard situation. That was not a real team. That was not a real.
And it showed against the Bills. That was one of the most lopsided playoff games in the history of the NFL, really. And I don't think anyone just assumed that they were just going to be a perennial contender playoff team. I know I didn't, but I do think Mac, I do think that the team can be constructed in a way where Mac can be an effective quarterback in this league or on the Patriots. Now, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if Mac's going to get to start next. Nobody does. I mean, this is the new reality now. We're going to be asking this question now every
for the rest of time now.
Up to game time, who's going to be the starter, Bill? Who's going to be a starter? I mean, when somebody tweeted earlier today, I think Bill's going to play both players. I literally in our group text, I made fun of the tweet. I was like, yeah, because that's a thing that Bill does, and that's a thing that he'll do. And then sure enough, he went and did it. I mean, it just, but you know what though? we were right and Bill was wrong because it was the wrong thing to do. I think at the end of the day, who's going to defend that move? I just don't understand.
And I don't get it. And it started to leak early. I think Doug Kyde had it early. Like, we know Mac's going to be active. We don't know what's going to happen here. We really don't know how it's going to shake out. And then Bert put out there Mac starting. And then Schefter, minutes before the game, kind of tweets out, I don't know, guys. I'm getting word that, like, he could play both. And we're like, what? Like, what? And again, I don't get a couple of things from this. I don't get the misdirection aspect of trying to fool the other team and who you're going to play. You're the same team regardless of which quarterback's in there. It's one noodle-armed pocket passer or another. You know, we're not talking about Lamar Jackson and Drew Bledsoe. You know, like two totally different guys.
Yeah, right. The Bear like,
it's
all
like
right, whoever you want to start.
This guy and you know it's. You know, they're both
really tricked them too. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
If you turn the lights off, you know, like, I don't even know if you know there's a difference between the two guys. So, like, I don't get this. And so I don't get the secrecy. But on top of that, I don't get what you gain by playing both, because you're not like, I'm going to hit him with a little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning.
Right. It's not like the Wildcats. It's not like Taysom Hill and Jacob. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, right. I got a package of plays I got a package of Zappy plays that are totally different than the Mac plays.
The Zappy package. Like, what are we talking about here? Hey, we got bots, man. I just blocked one.
I know. No, don't do that. When you do that, they go on the screen.
I did it though. I did it. People on the Celtics show know that I get a little trigger happy with the block button. But
oh my God. So I don't get it. I don't get messing around to begin with, but this could be the day that we look back on and like, where did it end for Bill?
Beginning at the end, right? Like,
you might have thought it was the Brady situation.
He's gonna get ripped, I think, this week. I really think so. I don't know who's gonna be able to defend the coaching tonight. At home, national.
This is the one where you go back and it's like, I don't know who's defending Bill on this. You know, like, is there anybody left who's going to be like, I totally get what he did and why he did it. I don't know.
But the important thing about that, John, what matters most is will the players defend it? Because it didn't sound like the players were thrilled with, or even really knew what the hell was going on with that situation with the quarterbacks. And when you're a wide receiver or an offensive player, like, we might say, oh yeah, they're the same guy. We know we can't tell the difference, but I'm sure that a receiver has a preference, or he wants to know tendencies with the quarterback that he's playing with, right? I mean, timing. I mean, all those things are important to these guys. And if they're one drive, it's quarterback one drive, it's quarterback two, and it's going back and forth, and they don't know leading up to the game who it's going to be or how long it's going to be, like, that's just more things to think about and more confusion. Like, the last thing I feel like these guys need going into the game is uncertainty of who the hell's throwing them the damn ball or handing the ball off. I mean, we saw the fumbled handoff with Zappy there. That was a turnover. And, like, these are all, I just think it's just a big one confusing team right now. It's very uncharacteristic of the Patriots to always be like just in order.
But everything was going this way. That's what's so strange is, like, this is a team that got crapped on. Look, there was a lot to criticize.
That's why I don't understand why Zappy didn't just start tonight. Like,
everything was trending that way. Yeah.
Right. Who would have questioned it? Nobody.
But that's the thing is, like, in the preseason, you had the coaching situation, which I still just don't understand why they're doing what they're doing in that regard. But you also have just a group, a personnel group that isn't super talented, doesn't have a lot of high-end talent. You don't have a lot of playmakers out there, but you were getting some good performances out of people. You were getting the secondary was playing better than you expected. Judon looked like himself. Dietrich Wise on the front end. You're getting Barmore to play in the defensive. They were starting to make some plays there, and it looked like they could function as an offense the last 2 weeks. And granted, it's not great opponents, but everything was pointing up, where all of a sudden after these last 2 weeks, you weren't just thinking 3-3, not bad. You're thinking 3-3, we could be 4-2 or 5-1. And the next 2 games are, we should smoke the Bears.
Right.
Forget the Jets.
Jets
I don't care if
their
their
running
record's good.
back. Like, yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to face the Colts with this new quarterback. Like, let's stack these wins up and go.
Right.
And you just took 10 steps backwards to like, what is going on? Total shit show out of nowhere here. So I don't understand at all what's going on.
Show, short week now, just so many more questions today than you had yesterday, and like, it's like they're doing it to themselves almost, right? I mean, it's very strange. It's just such a strange. I was just looking at the stats here. 24 first downs for the Bears, twice as many as the Pats, and then 11 of 18 on third down. It was those third and longs tonight. I mean, it felt like the Patriots had them. Just get off the field.
They were like 70% on third down or something. The Bears, right?
11 for 18. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
like
period.
Third and ones either. They were like some decent yardage ones.
They were like 10 for their first 13 or 14. It was something ridiculous. We're a Bruins town now, Jimmy. That's what we are.
I am a season ticket holder. I will say that. Share them with a couple buddies now. I'm going to be straight Bruins from this point on.
Nice. I'm going.
A lot of people are sleeping on the bees, not me.
This is pretty ugly. I don't have a ton more to say about it because but a
lot of people are asking you, what do you think? What does this mean for the season now?
I don't know, because when the season began, I honestly thought this was a 6-win team, just talent wise. But then you start to look at the schedule and you're like, they'll sneak out some wins here because it's just a lot of teams here that just aren't that good, and you look at the NFL and like most of it's not that good. So almost every week that you play, you're like, we could beat that team. You could beat that team. You could beat that team. But you usually do it with coaching and execution, and you'll like out Patriots them. They don't really do that right now. So I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I would have bet if I had a zillion dollars in a survivor pool and I looked at this slate of NFL games, I would have felt pretty friggin' good picking the Pats against the Bears this week.
Yeah,
I didn't fathom a loss.
I think 8.5-point favorite or something like that. I mean,
why did we say Zappy could play this game? Because it's the freaking Bears, and anybody, they could beat them with anybody. That was what we all thought, right?
Yeah, that's what we all thought. And I think some people think that maybe the Pats thought that they could get away with doing this, half and half thing or whatever the hell they were thinking.
Right.
It was just the Bears, and like they'd be able to figure it out.
And that's what I don't get is it's like that. That's what's confusing to me is, when in the history of time has this ever worked? In a preseason, I understand you will get reps in the preseason, but like guys get hurt all the time. Like Dak Prescott broke his hand and then he came back. He didn't come back and like get 3 series and let's bring Cooper Rush in. Like if he was rusty, you shake off the rust and then you just keep playing because you're our guy. Like that's it. Rust is normal. You miss a little time, you're rusty. Okay. It's not like a running back or a receiver. Christian McCaffrey with a new team. He doesn't know the playbook. He gets 20, 25 snaps while he's getting acclimated. It's your freaking quarterback. That's not how it works. You play. You just play the game. There'll be rust sometimes. It's normal. What are you doing? This was a plan. The plan was to play him for a little. No way.
3 short drives.
But again, we say no way, but I guess it was the plan, Jimmy. So what the hell? We don't know. It was being leaked before the game that this was going to happen.
Right. I don't think it was their plan to pull him as quickly as they did. That's what I don't think. I don't think that was necessarily the plan. I don't think.
What if they scored touchdowns on their first 3 drives? They still pull them?
Right. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. But he has a really bad throw there. Bad decision, great interception, but just there was a few plays before that where he looked like a little nervous. He's running the ball, a couple good runs, but I mean, I just think that I think that Pat saw how Mac looked out there and said, if we were gonna do this at halftime, why don't we just do it now? We look like shit out there. The offense is stagnant. he doesn't look comfortable. Let's just do it now. I think that may have
But
been.
why not tell the freaking team? Like, don't you think that they should know? Like, hey guys, we might switch things up a little bit. Could see both guys, totally normal. Don't freak out. Like,
Yeah. Unless it was something they were going to tell him at halftime. Maybe Zappy was going to start the second half. I honestly have no freaking clue. Well, again, we'll never know. Bill will never tell us. And if
but the players told us outright they didn't know. And when
they didn't know.
Myers, they had no idea. No idea.
No, I know they didn't know. I'm wondering if the plan was to tell them at halftime, assuming that they thought maybe Matt could go first half. But when they saw how he was playing, they're like, we got to pull the plug on this a lot sooner than we thought. But it's all just, it's all a guessing game. To me, it's ridiculous. I think, and I'm not just saying this now, I thought before the game that Zappy should have got the start. They're winning games with Zappy at quarterback. He had a solid game last week. Bills always say we want to do what's best for the team. He doesn't put, players in front of, what's best for the team. I guess he thought that what he was doing was best for the team. I have no idea how, but I think, when you look at the spark the offense got when Zappy went in that game, the catch that Parker made, a couple of nice throws, nothing crazy. Again, nothing crazy. And they were a couple of them were wide open, but there was a couple of nice catches. I think the offense had a little spark. I think they like to play with Zappy. And I think if that's the case, Bill needs to read the room a little bit better pregame or leading up to the game, start Zappy. And if the Patriots do end up with a big lead, like I think some people assumed, again, they were 8.5-point favorites, and go ahead and toss Mack in there for the fourth quarter, not because it's meaningless, but because you want to see how he looks out there, how he feels. And maybe he goes in with a little bit more comfortable if the game is already sort of, a win at that point. But it didn't end up that way. I mean, I'm very interested to see what Bill says the rest of the week. I have a feeling it won't be much, and I know the players won't say much because they're all trained to say nothing. It's, unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So again, we won't have the answers, but tomorrow and this week, I'll tell you what about, just real quick on the Celtics, they could have lost by 100 tonight, and it's not gonna make a blip tomorrow.
Yeah,
they're lucky in that sense.
The Celtics picked a good night to play like total
blow
assholes.
a 19-point lead, yeah.
Blow a 19-point lead, and everyone try to get ejected, and
right. Yeah, it's gonna be all about the and
what they scored 60 points basically the last three quarters. That game was a disaster. Yeah,
we shouldn't even rehash it. But you know what though? You know what's interesting? How quickly Pats fans kind of like turned on Mac here. I'm interested to see how quickly they turn on Bill.
And so that's kind of been the thing the whole time, right? And I know where you are, with the Brady thing, and firmly on the, that was the worst decision in there. So that's, the personnel stuff. There's hits and misses. Everyone's going to defend. Whoa, well, this draft looks pretty good, and
right.
And blah 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 blah. The free agents again, not great. Personnel management again, you have to look at the whole picture. The Brady thing is always going to be the thing that the big decision that's going to define him. But just this kind of level of arrogance of like, I can do whatever because it's worked for me, and it doesn't matter if it's conventional. It doesn't matter if you like it. It's just what I do.
You just don't get it. Yeah, right.
And you're not getting it, both with the coaches and whatever is going on with the quarterback situation here. It works when you're winning. It doesn't work when you're giving up 35 points to the Bears at home. Like, it doesn't work. It's not cute. It's not whatever. It's the type of thing that like eventually is going to get Bob to come down and be like, so Bill, this is kind of awkward, but what the hell are we doing here? Like, it doesn't work.
Everyone thought he was gonna become, number 2 winningest coach tonight. They had all the graphics going on. Were there boos as the game ended? I didn't catch the end of it. I imagine maybe some, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. What I will say is this was no joke. This was an absolute this was as bad as it was on the field. This was a coaching ass kicking from whatever they decided to do before the game with this farce involving the quarterbacks to just how they played the entire game, from the offensive game plan to just being stuck in this zone coverage to just not being able to defend Fields and letting him run free all game, getting absolutely gashed at the line of scrimmage. Absolutely as bad a coaching job as you'll ever see collectively. Just shame on you sort of job tonight. I'm just so perplexed by all of it. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see it coming. I'm just speechless.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people, dude. I mean, I was watching some post game coverage, and everyone else is just like, we can't explain it. We can't explain what's going on. So there's your state of the Patriots
There's
right
your
now.
state of the Patriots. We're gonna wrap it. And it's weird, man. It's a weird. This is a good way to put it. Zachary, this is a fragile situation. This is a fragile team. You're right, Julian. I'm never speechless. I am honestly, I can't. When there's weird, subtle stuff happening, Jimmy, I like to read between the lines and figure out what's going on here. But when big, blatant, weird shit like this is out in the open, I'm confused by it. Like I have to take a step back and like, what am I looking at here? I can't figure this out. I can't figure it out.
I can't either. I just know this. Bill's losing it. That's what I'm going to say. Bill's losing it. As a Brady guy, Bill's losing it.
This is where I've been for a bit with a couple of my friends who are by no means Pat's honks. Okay. My buddies aren't the guys who are wearing the friggin' Teddy Bruschi jersey and driving to Foxborough at 7 a.m. Like it's not them. But no, they refuse to think Bill is on the hot seat. And I've been saying, I don't.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat.
I'm not saying hot seat. What I'm saying is when this season is over and if it goes where some people thought it was going at the beginning of the year, where it goes like it's looking like it's going right now, there's going to be, as we like to say on the Garden Report, there's going to be uncomfortable conversations had after this season. Yeah. And I don't know what happens after those. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, people were like Bobby would be like, who would you hire instead? It's like, it's not about that. It's just we need to acknowledge
we're two coaches later since
right.
Bobby said that.
Right.
Who would you hire? I don't know. That guy or that guy. They're both fine, right?
Instead. That's not the point. The point is they did the wrong thing. But listen, I mean, I'm not saying the end is here, but games like tonight, it goes to show you that, and in Bill we trust. You might not be saying "in Bill we trust" as often as you were saying it back in the glory days.
I'm glad B. Ken said this because I'm going to say the Manning cast with Bill Burr got me through this.
It was good.
I mean, it's just fun to see him because he was just crapping on those guys we just had a little Boston defender there when things were looking ugly. So he was in there, which was great. And then Vince Vaughn came in and was just brutal. Just didn't want to be there. I like Vince Vaughn. He looked like he couldn't care less. He was the Chicago representative. Obama was on there earlier too. It was a pretty good cast of characters, obviously, but Bill Burr carried us through this. That was good.
Nice. Yeah.
So
we gotta get Bill on our show sometime. He's a Boston guy.
I can't hang with people that funny, because it's impossible to keep up.
I feel like you must know somebody who knows Bill Burr. Like you're kind of around the same age. You're both Boston guys. Like you've been doing it for a while. You got to know somebody who knows Bill Burr.
No, but I love that friggin' guy. Anyway, that's all we got. Jimmy, MVP tonight, double duty, did the Garden Report, hopped on here during our technical difficulties. Yeah. It was the plan. It was always the plan. But
the bullpen.
Came in here and saved
maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I'll pop on again sometime. Who knows?
I love this stuff. 1:40 a.m. It is late. It is a school night. So we're gonna wrap up this post-game show. And again, I don't know. I want more. I want more information. I keep looking for more, and all we've got is
questions.
This was always the plan. The Patriots didn't know it. That's it. That's all we got.
You know what, though? I want to say this one. I'm just, again, it goes back to how the players feel. Who cares? At the end of the day, who the hell cares? Patriots have always been good at blocking out the noise in the media and everything, and they've always been very within the confines of Gillette Stadium, right? But if you start to hear that the players are unhappy with the coaches, or they aren't trusting the play calling, or they're not on the same page as the coaches with things, that's when you're going to start to see shit hit the fan. And that's when I think, you're going to start to really question what's going on. So this felt like one of those games. I'm not saying that there's going to be one. I mean, next week it's the Jets. So, I mean, maybe everything's back to normal next week. I don't know. The Jets haven't been as bad as they typically are, but they just lost their star running back there. We'll see. Point being, I'm going to be interested to see and hear how the players sort of act over the next couple weeks. Kendrick Bourne's another guy that, he seems to be on the outside. Definitely. I mean, these are just the things that seem to be popping up a lot more than they ever have. So.
Yeah, we said it. We said it with Celtics again. Who cares what we think? Who cares? Whatever.
Right.
If the players want this guy or want that guy or don't, it's all that matters. If they respond to Ime when Ime was hired, to Joe when Joe's here, that's all that matters. The rest doesn't matter. So yeah, if the Patriots are on board, the players, with what's going on, but they're not good enough to start losing people and losing locker rooms and things like that. And right now they're an incohesive mess, which means they're going to go out and beat the Jets by 30 next week, which is usually how these things go. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Short week. We're back on Sunday in the Meadowlands. I think I'm actually heading out there for that game, so that'll be interesting. But
okay,
I know
John in the Big Apple. Okay,
I love. If I can, I do the New York games. I always like doing those.
There's no better place to play, really. I mean,
get a weekend in the city out of the deal, and then watch a football game on Sunday. It's not a bad deal. So I might be headed out for that, but we got Celtic stuff coming up later this week too. So we'll see you guys again back on the Garden Report, of course, Patriots postgame show. Jimmy Toscano, double duty tonight. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
It may happen again. Plus the Jimmy John podcast. This is a little taste. You might get a piece of it.
Always in the works.
Always in the works. Like the phenomenal t-shirts.
Yeah, right. Do we give these guys a t-shirt deal, or is that just on the Garden Report?
No, I mean I offer it sometimes, but in this case we were just everything was so screwy with our audio issues and this and that. I thought the show might be like 6 minutes long, so I didn't even bother doing sponsors.
It was looking that way. It was
grim. It was grim. It's too bad too, because Taylor's one of the smartest dudes out there, and he just knows everything.
I could tell.
He's just
popping. I could see. It was funny because I was watching it on YouTube, and every time that I could see, like in your eyes, I could see you die a little bit inside every time the pop came back.
It's like It's like friggin' just. It's
well,
like,
anybody who watched the beginning of the Garden Report tonight, I have to apologize because my audio and video apparently was Brockton Wi-Fi level, so I'm trying to figure that out, but. Tonight seems like it was all right on this show.
Right. This was like my hell. This was like having the Taylor thing just for that little while was like having to do a podcast with Joe Sway for the rest of my life. Like
that is what hell looks like for you.
I just couldn't take it. I feel so bad because, he, stayed up late with us too. He's on the West Coast. It's not as bad for him. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks you guys for hanging out. Weird, messed up Patriots game that we're going to be talking about this for a long time. We'll figure out how that goes. But thanks, guys. We'll